Military planes are still sweeping across the Atlantic searching for debris. The Brazilian Air Force has found pieces of the aircraft, including what they believe are passenger seats. This is not, though, a rescue operation. The chances of finding any survivors in the sea below are, according to the authorities, non-existent.
The military aircraft C-130 spotted at approximately 5:25 a.m. Brazilian time materials in two distant points, which are located about 60 kilometers apart from each other. In this area are an airplane seat, small white pieces, an orange floating device and a drum, as well as traces of oil and kerosene.
It is important, though, for the authorities to recover as much of the aeroplane as possible, including the black box containing flight data. Without it, it will be extremely difficult for Air France and accident investigators to understand why Flight 447 failed to reach its destination here at Charles de Gaulle Airport. The search is focusing on a zone 400 miles off Brazil's northeastern coast. This is where the plane sent its last warning signal and debris has been spotted. The area where the plane is thought to have crashed has been narrowed to a few nautical square miles of the Atlantic between Brazil and the African coast. A multinational team has been deployed. Recovery workers are using aircraft fitted with equipment to detect the plane's flight recorder. Other planes are using radar and infrared, which can detect bodies in the water. It is, of course, an agonizing time for relatives. In Brazil, they gathered at Rio de Janeiro airport where the plane started its tragic journey. The news they heard offered no reason for hope. In France, families are also straining under the enormity of their grief. They're being counselled by a team of psychologists at this hotel near Charles de Gaulle Airport. This tragedy made worse because their loved ones are still missing. Earlier, the first Air France plane from Rio since the disaster arrived at Charles de Gaulle Airport. On board, passengers who'd been on standby for Flight 447.
I learned the news, it's true. I hadn't immediately realised. It was a few minutes later that I realised that we were supposed to be part of that group. And it's then that I really said, we're really lucky.
Je vous demande un instant de silence.
In the French National Assembly, they've been remembering the missing. They paid their respects with 2 minutes silence. And amongst what is now a mood of national grief, the search for answers into what is the worst disaster in Air France's 75-year history continues.